As a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I am joining Shobhit University. What about you?
Very good morning to all the participants from India and abroad. Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology Meerut, a deemed to be university, and it's a Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, extend greetings to all the participants from abroad and India who are attending today's national webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022, Atmanirbhar Bharat in agriculture. This webinar series is hosted on every Thursday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Today is 5th August 2021. The webinar series is on the topic, very important topic, circular bioeconomy towards resilience. Circular bioeconomy towards resilience. Urgent need for redefining raw materials and modified waste management policies and regulations. On behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of the university, and on my behalf, and as Professor Emeritus and Chairman of Centers of Excellence, Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, welcome the today's guest speaker, Shri Sudhakar Reddy Garu. Good morning. He is an engineer turned farmer, former CEO HMT Bearings Limited, and former senior executive Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, Hyderabad, state of Telangana. For the benefits of the participants, guest speaker, so far under this webinar series, the university has organized 38 webinars on the topic, role of agricultural cooperative societies and e-governance, blockchain technology-based fishery value chain, a self-contained village, a felt need of the day, smart hill agriculture, a digitalized hill agriculture value system, Mara mobile, Mara marketing, integrated mariculture, aquaponics, precision agriculture, in short, MAPA bioforms for income revolution, smart tribal agriculture, optimizing value chains, digital agri-tech and industry perspective, land resources information system in India present and road ahead, weather decision technologies for increasing farm income, big data in smart farming, sustainable soil and land management for climate smart agriculture, understanding market dynamics for increasing farm income, role of technologies in mitigating crop risk, how to generate additional profit via simple, attractive approaches in farm produce, adoption of flexi rubber check dam technology, potential benefit for farmers in rain-fed and coastal agro ecosystems, realizing the economic benefits of agroforestry, Actosol, organic humic solutions for increasing crop yields and quality while increasing farm income and improving soil health, closing the nutrient loop, phosphorus management in protein farming, improving nutrient use efficiency and farm productivity, artificial intelligence enabled pest management technology for agriculture crop protection, empowering farmers through extension and knowledge dissemination, role of mass media, poultry monitoring, smart poultry monitoring solutions, agro biodiversity, intellectual property laws, agriculture and farmers' welfare, and insight into the issues for India's agrarian economy, manufactures and application of biochars for increased soil fertility and crop productivity, sustainable integration of livestock and with agriculture from farm income increase, role of geographical indications on improving farmers' income, lessons from Asia Pacific region, dairy informatics network value chain,
Spices Informatics value chain, a dairy tech startup perspective for farmers' income increase. Spices Informatics net, generating sustainable on-farm income through fintech intervention. Nutrition sensitive agriculture pathway for increasing farm income. Artificial intelligence and data analytics to ensure optimum nutrition in the soil, harvested food that minimizes human disease. Bioenergy supply chain, a business opportunity for rural enterprises and farmer produce organizations, tech enabling India's tech starved farmers for manifold increase in productivity and income. Open insurance ecosystem for agriculture producers, risk management solutions to overcome repercussions on farmers' income, market stability, and food safety. The role of mass media for farmers' income increase, a case study from Green TV. Extract open source digital infrastructure for agriculture ecosystems, a Linux Foundation project. Today is the 39th edition of National Webinar Series, which will be addressed by Mr. Sudhakar Reddy, an engineer turned farmer, former CEO, HMT Bearings Limited, and former senior executive BHEL Hyderabad, state of Telangana, on very important topic, circular bioeconomy towards resilience, urgent need for redefining raw materials and modified waste management policies and regulations. The keywords are circular bioeconomy, resilience, redefining raw materials, waste management, policies, and regulations. I decide to inform the speakers and the participants. The university has organized the following webinar in 6 numbers related to circular bioeconomy and the agricultural ecosystems. A self-contained village, a felt need of the day, by Dr. A. Suppaya, IAS retired, former Principal Secretary to Government of Kerala, Trivandrum. Integrated mariculture, aquaponics, and precision agriculture, MAPA biofarms for income revolution, by Professor Jnana Prakash Vincent, head of the Department Center for Marine Science and Technology, Manonmanim Sundarnar University, Rajakamangalam, Kanyakumari District, State of Tamil Nadu. Closing the nutrient loop, phosphorus management in protein farming. Manufacture and application of biochar for increased soil fertility and crop productivity. Sustainable integration of livestock with agriculture for farm income increase. Bioenergy supply, a business opportunity for rural enterprises and farmer produce organization, by Suhas Bakshi, co-founder and CEO of Biofuel Circle Private Limited, Pune. Agriculture sector is the foundation of the Indian economy. It employs more than 50% of the India's workforce and contributes almost 17 to 18% of its GDP. And at present, agricultural livelihoods are being severely impacted world over as a result of anthropogenic global warming and climate change. India's labor-intensive and subsistence-based agriculture sector is particularly vulnerable to this development. Climate change has both the direct and indirect effects on agricultural productivity, including changing rainfall patterns, severe droughts, flooding, and changes in geographical redistribution of pests and diseases. Indian farming community comprises of about 14 crores farmers, of which 85% farmers have small and marginal size operational holdings. Farmer needs timely, location specific, and personalized information for effective control on their production, risk, and then market their produce to identify the market opportunities. Many national level programs, Digital India 2015, Make in India 2015, Skill India 2015, Startup India 2015, and Stand Up India 2015 have faced operational difficulties for its impact at farm level and farmer level, and that too at small and marginal farmers. Just 1 minute, participants. I think the guest speaker's link is disconnected. Let me request him to connect once again. There is a power disruption, and a guest speaker is getting connected. Reforms towards digitalization of agricultural systems. Doubling farmers' income by 2022, report 2018. The Government of India, through its National Informatics Center, has prepared IT blueprint for agriculture sector through a national conference on informatics for sustainable agriculture development in May 1995. And in 2005, Government of India launched the National E-Governance Program in Agriculture, Volume 3, 4, 11, and 12B of the Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022 report 2018 of the Government of India have suggested reform measures for income rise through digitalization of farming sector. Volume 3, Post-Production Agri-Logistic, Maximizing Gains for Farmer. Volume 4, Post-Production Intervention, Agriculture Marketing. Volume 11, Empowering the Farmers through Extension Knowledge Dissemination. Volume 12B, Digital Technology in Agriculture, with the intent to achieve efficiency gains and convert into profitability from farm to fork. Agriculture logistic is the backbone of agribusiness and agriculture marketing, which is the brain behind value proposition, value realization. The farmers produce must connect with multiple avenues to obtain value at each place, across time and space and in various forms. Volume 12B has suggested strategic use of digital technology in farming systems life cycle through 7 mission mode programs, which has been given in chapter 10. Let me reproduce those 7 mission mode projects. Digitalized agriculture in the form of smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming, and smart tribal farming. Digitalized agrovet advisories and agricultural risk management solutions. Digitalized agricultural resources information system and micro level planning for achieving smart village and smart farming. Digitalized value chain for about 100 agriculture commodities. Digitalized access to inputs, technology, and knowledge, skill, agriculture, finance, credit, marketing, and agribusiness management to farmers. Thank you very much, for coming. And digitalized value chain for about 400 agriculture commodities. Digitalized integrated land and water management system per drop more crops. Digitalized farm health management for reduction of farmers' loss. We also have 3 farm acts were enacted during 2020. They have become a game changer. Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act, Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement and on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act, and Essential Commodities Amendment Act. The Centre's Committee on Doubling Farmers' Income has recommended boosting digital initiatives. Government of India has come out with India's digital ecosystem of agriculture and it has set up a committee on 7th October 2019. And this India Digital Ecosystem of Agriculture, acronymed IDEA, will lay down a framework for agri-stack, agriculture stack, IT stack, and is to provide gateway for farmers, startups, and application developers. AgriStack is a collection of technology-based interventions in the farming and agriculture sector that hold the potential to result in dramatic changes. There is also another global initiative, AgStack. There is a project of Linux Foundation, is a digital software infrastructure for accelerated adoption of digital applications, data, and technologies in the food and agriculture value chain as a global initiative. The global agriculture ecosystem needs a digital transformation to sustainably serve the needs of the 21st century. A digital infrastructure is necessary to sustainably serve the needs of the 21st century, and this digital infrastructure is necessary to catalyze applications that bring efficiency and enable scale. And Atmanirbhar Bharat, a road ahead. It is the vision of Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, of making India a self-reliant nation rested on intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation. And the third tranche of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, agriculture sector got about 1.5 lakh crore booster. Empowering farmers through technology is an agenda of today. We must ensure that Indian farmers benefits from all these technology developments right up front at farm level and farmer level. Circular agriculture economy. I wish to quote from the research paper titled Sustainable Integration of Livestock with Agriculture for Farm Income Increase by Anup Kalra, Mohanji Saxena, and Moni Swami, which has been submitted for publication, which has resulted as a form of presentation in similar webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022 in the month of June. I wish to quote, shifting towards a circular economy. It is a viable model for current linear economy make based approach by minimizing the amount of external inputs for agriculture production, closing nutrient loops, and reducing negative impacts to the environment by eliminating discharges, that is wastewater and surface runoff. I also would like to, quote that the circular economy endorses reduce, reuse, recycle approach. Applying the circular economy principles to the development of the Indian food system would create additional annual benefits of 3.9 lakh crore, $61 billion in 2050. Reduce, glasshouse, gas emissions and water usage and environmental degradation, and play a vital role in securing the long-term food supply. COVID-19 lockdown measures are driving a major shift towards a circular economy research. Circular economy approach under which agriculture can offer a multitude of opportunities from primary production using precision agriculture techniques to the recycling and utilization of agricultural waste and materials. The circular carbon economy is an integrated and inclusive approach to transitioning toward more comprehensive, resilient, sustainable, and climate-friendly energy system that support and enable sustainable development. By 2023, the ecological footprint of food transport is required to be communicated using carbon dioxide emissions, CO2 label, or by providing information about both the length of time and the mileage traveled, food miles label on every agriculture or food product. Smaller the food miles shall promote vocal for local, mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. The circular economy for water and agriculture plays a key role for sustainability. According to the guest speaker, from his synopsis, India can unlock approximately $500 billion of economic value by 2030 through adoption of circular economic business models. And India's biomass-rich rural hinterland can emerge as a potential hotspot for the well-established circular economy. Today's guest speaker, Engineer Sudhakar Reddy, an engineer turned farmer in Biochar Crusader WhatsApp group in May 2021, he posted this message. Despite many efforts, there are still existing certain complexities. Circular economy is much stronger on paper rather than in the practical sense, he adds it. Introducing waste refinery, biorefineries, necessitates redefining of raw materials and modified waste management policies and regulations. Very important. Reusability of resources is to be considered at every level. The inclusion of biological component in circular economy needs several policies and new legislations. All circular economy solutions require participation from all stakeholders, producer, transformers, and customers. And emphasis should be on bringing out participatory initiatives among citizens globally. In one of my notes, which I produced in 2020, Banana Agro Processing Industrial Park for Sustainable Rural Livelihood and Prosperity, turning banana waste to value. A simple calculation. I would like to tell you how much money we can generate from banana waste. This is a concept paper from the Center for Agriculture, Informatics and E-Governance Studies, Shobhit University. In India, the possible income for farmers from banana pseudo-stems waste. This income is more than Indian rupee 13,350 crores. In India, possible income from farmers from banana pseudo-stems waste is more than Indian rupee 13,350 crores, equivalent to 267 crores. Plantation into 50 rupees per plant per annum. Over and above this income is for farmers, the extracted raw materials can be used for making useful, biodegradable, eco-friendly, sustainable, value-added products. There are a lot of banana waste as raw materials. About 260 crore banana pseudo stems per annum is available in the country. So multiply by 50 rupees per pseudo stem, it is equivalent to rupees 13,350 crores from one agriculture commodity, and India it is getting wasted. It is not wasted, and it is a waste until we waste it. It is a wealth. Banana raw materials produced go as input materials for textile industry. It is happening in Sri Lanka, it is happening in Nepal, it is happening in Indonesia, it is happening in the Philippines, it is happening in Japan. It is, and the plywood industry, paper industry, biofertilizer industry, biofuel production industry, etc., etc. I quoted this as an example. And this topic today, which we'll hear from our guest speaker, Shri Sudhakar Reddy Garu, will motivate and galvanize the participants watching over telecast through facebook.com, Shobhit University India, or youtube.com, Shobhit University In, or LinkedIn.com. From today onwards, this is available on LinkedIn too. LinkedIn.com /company /Shobhit-University, for developing many joint collaborative research projects, in the form of agri-tech startups to facilitate farm as a business for more than 6,500 agri startups, one per block, or even 2.25 lakh agri startups, one per each gram panchayat. We are moving towards a digitalized platform economy in agriculture, as Digital India is the way of life as envisioned by our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Let me invite our guest speaker to address the participants. Before that, let me introduce our guest speaker, Shri Sudhakar Reddy, to the participants. Shri Sudhakar Reddy is an engineer turned farmer. Former CEO, HMT Bearings Limited, and former senior executive, BHEL, from Hyderabad, state of Telangana. He is a bachelor in electrical engineering and served as engineer in switchgear unit and turbine unit of BHEL. Had opportunity to work with the 3 foreign companies. Served as head in HMT Bearings as senior executive position. Established a telecom engineering company and manufactured electronic items like biometric units. Participated in deduplication of ration cards by developing electronic devices. Developed optical fiber-based temperature control devices to control transformer burning. For the last 10 years, entered farming as a retired engineer and presently a farmer with 10 years of farming experience. This only has motivated me to invite him for today's webinar series. He developed a seed and fertilizer drill for sowing and fertilizer drill for sowing seeds mechanically. Developed seed treatment methods and improved seed germination results. Conducted rain harvesting studies in various farmer fields in different districts of Telangana, besides arranging construction of check dams in villages. Shri Sudhakar Reddy got 2 national awards, one for productivity and other for innovation for implements. We welcome our Shri Sudhakar Reddy Garu for the national webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022, Atmanirbhar Bharat in agriculture, to talk on circular bioeconomy towards resilience, urgent need for redefining raw materials and modified waste management policies and regulation. Over to you.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to talk in this particular platform, which has become very popular among various farming communities and other areas of operations. I am excited to be here to be delivering the note on various aspects of farming here. And coming to the farmers' point of view, when Prime Minister announced doubling the farmers' income by strategizing these 7 plans and then adapting the formula of Mr. Swaminathan, we were all very happy that the things would go in a particular direction as to help the farmers by following those evolved strategies. And the formula of Swaminathan, though not followed fully in deciding the MSP rates to the farmers in about 23 crops. Well, although the governments may have difficulties in allocating budgets to them, there could have been methods in these strategies, as it was already told in the case of banana, how the productivity or new methods could improve the revenue of the farmers. And then in terms of dollar terms, the farmers will have to think on those lines in line with those strategies evolved by the governments, especially the allied crops. Most of the farmers are always clinging on to the paddy without looking into the allied crops like horticulture, vegetable crops, which are very popular among various districts or various states. Instead of farmers thinking on those lines, sticking to one particular crop maybe detrimental to the interest of the farmer himself. Irrespective of all the use efficiencies, better methodologies, and use of better resources, things like that. See, there could be the better opportunity for farmers to make use of these resources in a better way by following the various technologies designed or formulated by various universities. All that I'm hoping is that these technologies will have to reach to the farmers in an appropriate manner. So, in connoissance with the nature, the ecology. So, each area has its own ecology, its own environment. And the philosophy of agriculture is not touching, that particular aspect of ecology. If only the methodologies evolved will touch those areas. So, like the water management, resource use efficiency, and then the acquisition through genetic properties of seeds. As I used to tell in number of fora about resource use efficiency, which is product of the water management. That is what is desired initially to bring the water to the fields. We have to manage from whichever source it is, whether it is stream or canal or bore well or open well. The management has to be done properly with proper budgeting. So this is where the seeds play an important role. The seeds will have to be catered or will have to be genetically designed for those clusters which have certain environmental aspects, so congenial to that particular area. See, so that the seeds developed will go better as to derive the efficacy or say the advantage from those resources, like for instance the water. Water being fundamental to the soil apart from seed, the seed and water reactions will play a lot of role. This is where the wastage also will have to be considered in terms of maintaining the resources improperly, in the sense that when water is so important, the seed must be designed or seed must be catered to that particular area as to draw water in a particular mature period. In the sense, when vegetative stage is even water is required, its resource efficiency will have to be seen in terms of what it needs in that vegetative period. This is where many practices and process should be attached to the crop phenology cycle. In the sense, when vegetative stage, the crop needs more resources like water. In a way, seed would have already been there catering to that particular area. The seed treatment here plays a role. The seed treatment in terms of its efficacy by using proper microorganisms in addition to mycorrhiza. So this is, anyway, before touching on the economy, circular economy, on the circular bioeconomy, I would touch upon circular economy, which has been the forerunner for circular bioeconomy. Because you have the formulated guidelines, some formats are there already in the circular economy, which has overtaken the linear economy. See, we have been living with linear economy for centuries together. So making and using and throwing, I would use the word deliberately throwing, or instead of discarding. Discarding, maybe you can think of reusing it at a later stage. but you are throwing so that that would not be useful to you at any point of time later when you really want to make use of that. This is where the circular bioeconomy. Before I would touch circular bioeconomy, I would like to touch upon circular economy as a forerunner, which has actually helped in the industrial economy. The circular economy in the industrial economy meaning that whatever is used in the industrial arena, the one must try to reduce. That is, the economy, the meaning of economy is how optimally you utilize in an industrial area for a particular optimal efficiency of any particular engine or any particular resource or whatever. So my plea is that you have to reduce the consumption. Instead of running the machine is at a higher speed, at higher load. If you can think of running it in an optimal way, the resource can be used to see in a better and in an efficient manner and effective manner, thereby reducing its wear and tear. So this again leads to the minimal wastage of the resource. Wastage in the sense optimum use of the so-called resource or the equipment or engine. So the point here is when you reduce its consumption or its wear and tear through proper use, there is a possibility of less maintenance and repair. In the circular economy, it is cataloged, it is already enlisted as a universal format. You reduce, so you reuse. I would add repair and maintenance. This some people already may be using this terminology elsewhere, but most normally this is not reflecting in the so-called circular economy. But I would put it here in the repair and maintenance, and then your recycling. The recycling can be done in so many ways. So before I touch recycling and then repair, I would start with the reduction. So I saw in one hotel one slogan written on the left that reduce your water consumption. You are served half glass of water, meaning that half is empty. Instead of writing half is empty, he writes half full, meaning that when you are not supposed to use more than what you can or what you should not, it leads to the wastage. So why in the first place go for consumption of more resource than trying to waste and then do many other things later. So it is not to fit into this framework of linear or circular economy we live with. See, we live and then think of all these aspects, see, in the order, so that when in the normal course of natural living, in the order of living in a natural way, we get accustomed to this sort of things as a framework. Instead of being told, don't waste, let us, in the order of our natural process, cultivate the habit of following this philosophy of these words reduce, reuse, and repair and maintain. In the case of goods or in the case of your body, perhaps you can make fasting and then try to restore your health properly. Or in the case of even for the farming also, you can make alternative wetting and drying in the case of crops. Say like repeat is also on some sort of repair and maintenance. You don't have to unnecessarily load the crops, you see, with excess water or flood the fields with excess water, and then attracting these so-called insects and other things, and are making the crop suffer with excess water or less water, either in either case. So the phenomenon of the health of the crop, now it depends on 4 or 5 factors. One is less water, one is excess water, One is less nutrients, the other is excess nutrients. Third could be any drought or the disease or the pest attack. So all these factors, when they are responsible for the health of the crop, the wastage when it becomes, see, the crop becomes diseased, it amounts to your, in terms of wasting in industrial side, wasting a product. Here you are unnecessarily putting the crop to the sufferance. This is where the practices do come in. The farmers will have to think of bioeconomy not in terms of physical saving of the resources. In trying to save something, in trying to protect something, you have to think of the efficacy in terms of optimal use of all these resources. Like as I said, when you don't need that much of water at respective stages, like in vegetative stage, you may need little more extra water relative to your flowering or your fruiting stage. So the instead of wasting the water at later stage, or instead of wasting water in the initial stage or vegetative stage, you have to optimally think of. This is where the challenges come. See, why allow in the first place draw more water, which means the management of water is not good. So you have to manage water in a proper manner, as to decide, how much would you be needing the seed till last, depending on what type of seed that you have used. Genetically speaking, when in the phenology cycle, when the farmer should note before even budgeting or scheduling the water, I would say that he has to think or ask the seed breeder as to what could be his quantity, so that he doesn't have to waste, or maybe incidentally it leads to the wastage. Even if he is not intending to waste, it amounts to going to the wastage. So therefore, all these factors, starting from genetics to ultimate harvesting, you have to think of these resource use efficiencies. Even the best optimal efficiency of the resources may not lead to that particular resource getting affected due to disease or due to the effect of the pests or anything like that. So my plea to the farmer here is that before you even think of doing wastage, you have to think of how optimally you use it, not necessarily to minimize the wastages, to think in terms of such usage of water or resource in a proper way. You will not ultimately going to lead to disease or other aspects of the pests and attack or whatever. And there are so many factors involved here, like in the case of cotton. So I'm slightly deviating here from the secular or bioeconomy to draw certain meaningful examples, so that we can attach, see, this philosophy or the practice to bioeconomy. So the all these practices are part of bioeconomy. You don't have to specifically say that this is the factor as part of bioeconomy. So everything is part of bioeconomy. So I particularly bring one particular crop, that is cotton crop, and later horticulture mango crop. This will, by drawing such examples and then the bringing out certain examples relating to the agriculture and then nature culture and the diet culture. So you can't ignore the diet culture and exempt it from the agriculture or nature culture. So I invariably bring in the diet culture in between agriculture and nature culture, the diet culture. So when the wastages are talked not in terms of resource use efficiency alone, it has to add the productivity in terms of what we call quality aspects also, in other words. So my point of view here is that when you use these resources in a very optimal way, the ultimate minimal consumption of all these resources, see, for ultimate production or the what do you call produce as a productivity, I try to bring all these factors in between so that at every point of time the quality is related to diet. So the productivity is related to diet, and the ultimate quality of harvesting is related to diet. So the bioeconomy, I mean, when Professor Moni rightly said, see, you have to think of this, when you take harvesting into consideration, how much investment you do, how much innovation you do, how much, you see, the extra benefit you derive out of all these factors. Now, the harvesting, sometimes what happens is when you use the resources in a very optimal way, there is a possibility of reduction of the pesticides. You don't have to, in other words, use these pesticides. See, when there is resources have been injudiciously, indiscriminately used earlier, it will have a profound effect, you see, on the crop. It speaks on the crop, and therefore, the so-called inputs like fertilizers, when you use indiscriminately, they are bound to attract more number of pests or the viruses. It's bound to be there. So with the result, the crop quality and then the harvesting period will be extended because the crop would still be, consuming the unnecessary resource fed to the crop, and by stretching the crop period to a later stage by 10 days or 15 days, you are not only allowing the pests to occupy these fields, at the same time causing damage. Pests are not only doing damage by themselves, they also attract viruses to their bodies. Like for insects carry virus. What does it do at late stage? It not only tries to take its own food and incidentally attach, the viral spores, to the crop components. So these are all unimaginable effects, felt in the crop, and many farmers, may not understand. Such things are happening. So therefore, my plea to the government is not to release. Somebody said today, I say in the paper, the government is not able to supply full quantity of urea. I say why. In fact, I never used beyond 50-60% of urea in any of my fields. When I got a national award, at that time also I used only 50-60% of the inputs. So you have to use 50% of water, 50% of other inputs, and think of getting 50% more productivity. So such practices, government should think, or the universities must think. Well, in whatever manner you do, whether you do breeding or whether you create the seed to a particular cluster. So many factors governments or universities are not thinking. They are only thinking in terms of regulated crops or the productivity. So I am sorry to say that these seeds are meant to be used in those areas, clusters, to benefit the farmer, at the same time benefit the ecology and the environment. So that's not what is happening. So I see number of times universities claiming they have 23 seeds developed this year or 47 seeds developed here. I can tell you in case of economies, circular economy or circular bioeconomy, why we produce a crop which enlarges and then thereby wasting, the product there. That itself comes under bioeconomy as far as my little science is concerned. The bioeconomy is not necessarily in physical damage done to the product or resource at the end while consuming it. Even before consuming the product, much of the waste is happening. See, the harvesting is taking place in the case of pulses. See, in our rain-fed area, we have no other go than to depend on rain. We don't even know how much sea will be from any other sources as to how much would be the rainfall for that particular area. Leave alone for the year. We can't even anticipate water in the next 3-4 days when you have to plan particular operation. See, we had undergone recently last 4-5 years. We have been 4-5 days. We have been suffering while trying to fertilize our mango gardens. So every alternate day, there is stoppage of work because we are not too sure. When will rain come, when will not rain come. So the farmer is put to the sufferance that way. So before we even think of the economy, the circular economy in terms of wastage, we are wasting the resources otherwise by way of not following systematically a particular routine due to various constraints like the water, the rainfall not coming properly. And there are so many vagaries in the rainfall. There are so many vagaries, variations in the moisture levels due to soil. And all these factors will have to be really thought over by scientific methods. Like, for instance, you have to go for green manuring so as to provide cushion. When it is incorporated, the water will have the holding capacity. The soil will have better holding capacity. It will not allow leaching, incidentally, and therefore there will not be any wastage, there. See, this could also be coming under bioeconomy. See, in terms of saving the rainfall and utilizing this in a particular manner, in a judicious or say optimal manner. So I'm not very congruent in saying certain things, but as a farmer, I'm tempted to tell, what suits to the farmer may not be in line with the subject matter given to me, but still tangentially touching the bioeconomy here, circular bioeconomy. Now, coming to specific circular bioeconomy, why do you waste your produce at the end? Now, when farmer is producing the paddy, when the harvesting is not happening in a proper manner. In fact, when you can't blame the governments in certain cases. The farmers are to be blamed here. As a farmer, I'm telling you, there are methods of maintaining the moisture levels. So the moisture level is supposed to be 14 to 16%, depending on the local area considerations, the standards. So instead of maintaining 16%, the farmers will tend to harvest these products much earlier, perhaps to pay off to their the borrowers, to the so-called lenders whoever have given in the mandis. So they may be urging them to pay early. So even the farmer also in a dire need to sell may not be following systematically these factors like harvesting, when to harvest. Physiological maturity definition is not known to the farmer. So with the result, he is wasting his produce by harvesting this much earlier than when it is due. When physiological maturity is not happening, and you do the harvesting is in the harvesting maturity stage unknown to you, the moisture will always be there for the paddy. And so if there is incidentally when it goes to as high as 25 to 30%, the farmer will do 1 or 2 days drying. And so he will not be able to maintain that 14 to 16% moisture rate. With the result, he is forced to sell, you see, at higher rate of moisture, and the tussle really starts between buyer and seller. Whoever it is, the buyer can be the rice miller, or the seller could be a farmer or a middleman who has purchased from the rice from the farmer with an intention to sell, let's say, at extra cost by cheating the other agency or by hoodwinking the other agency. But so many factors you see are happening in the real world. So when realities are different, the governments have no stakes or no say in these matters, except becoming or cutting a sorry figure between farmer and then mandis. So if governments regulate all these factors right from the farmer level by imposing all these standards with giving these drying machines, you see, at a cluster level and then at the mandi level even, the where is the question of the farmer not getting double income? See, most of the times the regulated crops are not going in the way the market demands see, are allowing to have. In other words, market demands and then the production you see are not correlating to each other. With the result, the price escalations, price factors you see do come in. So the and coming to the harvesting side, we have seen practically last 3 4 years the when rains you see, are not going in a proper manner. The harvesting is playing a vital role. With the result, the crop productivity apart, the quality is not being maintained consistently. The crop size, the grain size is becoming the variable sizes you see in the grain is not allowing the machine to be efficient. So when you have a 3 size, 4 size, 5 size, due to the phenological factors, due to the various problems you see in the cropping stage itself, when you have no control on this crop, regulation, size regulation or productivity, quality regulation. So you tend to enter into that sort of problem. And the result, the combined harvester also will not be able to take care of the quality aspects here. And most of the sieves which are responsible for grading these seeds will behave erratically and then sometimes resulting in breakage of these pulses. And this is where the quality problem comes, the wastage.
Hello. I think we are not getting your voice, audio. I think there is audio problem from the speaker. Please wait. We are talking to him. Hello. Hello. It got disconnected.
Yes, sir.
That's okay. Okay. Please come on. He's joining. So, Shri Sudha Reddy, the guest speaker, is getting his system connected, and so far he just 1 minute. So far he has talked very well with respect to the need for the optimal resource efficiency, to achieve optimal resource efficiency at the farmer level. And he also said it that formula of Dr. Swaminathan committee report is not being followed. And he requested that the farmers should also get on to allied crops rather than sticking to the regulated crops, and achieve the resource use efficiencies or make use of resources in a better way by technologies developed by associated industries. And this technology should reach the farmer so that they ecologically and environmentally we achieve betterment at the farm level. And he also said it that the seed, soil, and water, these three components are very important. These resources, and water has to interact with the seed through soil. So this is a very important interactions, and this is where the resource use efficiency has to be achieved effectively. The resources are not used effectively if it is either less use or more use will result in disaster effect. This is what he has emphasized, and always try to go for the use of 50% of the resources. It's important thing that this is where, and the government and the universities are also thinking about the regulated crops, but they should also see to that the how to get ecological benefits to the farmer. And this is an important thing which he has talked about it. And if these standard operations or standardized operations if it is adopted, or the package of practices are adopted effectively, then why to have wastages? And there is no reason that we should have wastages. And this is where he say that adopt best practices, adopt resource use efficiencies, and then these are all the steps which are all inbuilt in achieving circular bioeconomy. Let me also check up. with him whether he's joining or not. Hello? Meanwhile, before he joins, let me also read out his synopsis. It goes like this. Our fossil-based linear economy, as currently configured, is not only unsustainable, but also unstable. It is expected that the global population will increase by 9.2 billion by 2050, further exacerbating the increasing energy and resource demands. The economic growth will have compounding effects on both the depleting proven fossil fuel reserves and ultimately recoverable reserves by 2069 and 2080 respectively. The economic growth will have compounding effects on both the depleting proven fossil fuel reserves and ultimately recoverable reserves by 2069 and 2088 respectively. Besides, the consequences of growth of greenhouse gas emissions, consequent climate change, energy crisis, and pollution that are some of the major issues that have made headlines for centuries. Yet not much has been done about it until government started giving environmental protections its due importance while drafting the national policies. Sustainable development has become a priority for the world's policymakers too. The transition towards a sustainable economy is already underway, and one of its fundamental tenets is believed to be the concept of circular economy. Circular economy represents an economic system based on recycling and reuse of raw materials while maintaining regeneration and restorative capacity of the natural resources, where nothing is lost and everything feeds a new cycle. Where nothing is lost and everything feeds a new cycle. Circular economy replaces the end of life of concept with restoration by minimization of material use, shifting towards the use of renewable energy, eliminate the use of lesser toxic chemicals, and supports zero waste discharge through in design of systems, materials, and business models. The economy's linear model of take, make, dispose is being modified as they take, make, reuse, recycle, and remanufacture, which facilitates significant reduction of the waste generated. The concept of circular economy can be more sustainable if the use of fossil-based materials can eventually be replaced with biotic resources genetically considered as bioeconomy. Bioeconomy is intended to tackle the challenges and demands for food and energy by implementing innovative biological approaches through collaboration with researchers, stakeholders, and policymakers. Circularity and carbon neutrality can help in developing a sustainable bioeconomy, which can directly benefit the economic, social, and climatic conditions. Execution of a circular bioeconomy at an urban level could decrease the pressure caused by the cities by establishing resilient and regenerative urban cycles. Despite many efforts, there are still existing certain complexities. Circular economy is much stronger on paper rather than in the practical sense. However, promoting the concept of waste bioenergy, biorefinery, regenerative agriculture practice, biomimicry, urban/industrial metabolism, and industrial symbiosis can fuel the circular bioeconomy when followed by technologies or business models. The biorefineries can create value from waste. Biorefineries can change the perspective of waste and deviate it from the standard waste management practices. Introducing waste biorefineries necessitates redefining of raw materials and modified waste management policies and regulations. Reusability of resources is to be considered at every level. The inclusion of biological component in circular economy needs several policies and new legislations. The inclusion of biological component in circular economy needs several policies and new legislation. Circular bioeconomy policy goals should address regional development, reduction of GHG emissions, pollution, pressure on land, and marine-based feeds. For bio-based products to compete with the well-established petrochemical products, maintaining consistency while drafting policy is major challenge. All needs to be addressed by the policy makers. For bio-based products to compete with the well-established petrochemical products, maintaining consistency while drafting policy is a major challenge that needs to be addressed by the policy makers. All circular economy solutions require participation from all stakeholders, producers, transformers, and customers, and emphasis should be on bringing out participatory initiatives among citizens globally. Sri Sudhakar Reddy has quoted a lot of references from the published research articles. And since he is not in a position to reconnect his system from a remote village in Telangana, and because of the digital connectivity, and I have, I thought that it is, it will be appropriate to invite our Honorable Chancellor, Shri Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra, to give his valedictory remarks. And Mr. Sudhakar Reddy has talked initially about the need for circular economy and the circular bioeconomy, and how the best practices to be adopted to reduce the harvest wastages, and farmers should go for allied crops rather than sticking to regulated crops. And he himself, as an engineer turned farmers, for the last 10 years he has been producing lot of profit from doing agricultural farming in a very by adopting ecological methods. So I would like to invite our Honorable Chancellor to give his valedictory address. Before that, I would like to, introduce to the participants our Honorable Chancellor. Shri Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra is the co-founder and Chancellor of Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, Meerut, a NAC accredited deemed to be university, and Shobhit University, Ganga, Uttar Pradesh. He is a prominent social entrepreneur based in New Delhi, carries leadership roles in many organizations. He has been nominated as the co-chairman of National Council on Education of ASSOCHAM, the oldest apex chamber of commerce in India, for the year 2020-21 and 21-22. Shri Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra is a persistent advocate of initiatives for education for all, secular values, crisis management through diplomatic and peaceful ways, and globalized system of learning and harmonious coexistence. He has been instrumental in the development of a number of higher education institutions in North India, including 2 universities, many research centers, and Ayurveda Medical College, College of Naturopathy and Yogic Sciences, and a 100-bed AYUS hospital. He is instrumental in establishing 4 centers of excellence: Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Studies and Applications University. To promote informatics and technology-led development, rural India is also planning to establish a Center for Health Informatics and Computing in the university. He has traveled widely in India and abroad to the countries like USA, UK, Germany, Australia, Russia, China, South Korea, Vietnam, Mongolia, United Arab Emirates, Mauritius, Rwanda, Uganda, Croatia, and etc., to participate in various professional, social, and educational activities. He is very actively involved with a number of social organizations. Acknowledging his contribution in the areas of education and other concerns, he has been copiously honored and awarded. Shri Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra is a passionate Gandhian and avid reader, keen learner, social speaker, occasional poet, and a dreamer. I welcome our Honorable Chancellor to give his valedictory address. Mr.
Thank you
Sudhakar
very
Reddy
much.
is calling.
Yeah.
Let me. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
So, good afternoon, everybody. It is indeed a pleasure for me every week to be a part of this very important webinar series initiated by our Center for Agriculture Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies. I congratulate Professor Moni for his persistent effort, 39 weeks continuously talking on a topic where I believe that Shobhit University is among the very few or maybe the only one which is talking about it, that how to double the income of our farmers by 2022. I always believe that a direction and a vision is given by the leaders. Then academicians, practitioners, bureaucrats, executors, students, everybody, the nation has to work to achieve that mission, to fulfill that vision. And that's why this webinar series is happening, where we are inviting all type of stakeholders, those who are working with the farmers, those who are working for the farmers, those who are thinking about them. And in last so many weeks, I have found that so much is happening. The only issue is to integrate, to bring everything on one platform. What very effectively this webinar series is doing, I congratulate everybody associated with it, especially Professor Moni. Professor Sudhakar Reddy is not able to rejoin. It speaks about many of the things which need to be enhanced, which need to be developed, because in digital world, digital connectivity has to be perfect, even in the rural and the remotest areas. The same issue is with our farmers actually. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Sudhakar Reddy. I'm mentioning him as a professor because his presentation was of a professor. It was full of knowledge. It was full of experimentation. It was full of concerns and possibilities. So, Mr. Reddy, coming from the industry, going to agriculture and working, this is exactly what is required. Once I learn, I earn, then I go back and give to the society. And again, I will earn out of that. He was talking about circular economy and urgent need for redefining raw material and modified waste management policies and regulations in India. Many of us have never thought that what is circular bioeconomy, what can be done, what is this circular economy all about, and I am sure that his talk has given us a fair enough idea, not only about what is circular economy, but what is the importance of circular economy. So, Mr. Reddy has joined us. Yeah. Okay. It's a pleasure to have you again with us. Mr. Reddy, it is a pleasure to have you with us. I'm happy that you were able to rejoin. Okay. So, if I look at what is circular economy and what are the concerns maybe, if we look at the document which United Nations in the form of SDGs has talked about, circular economy particularly holds promise for achieving multiple SDGs, including SDG 6 for energy, 8 on economic growth, 11 on sustainable cities, 12 on sustainable consumption and production, 13 on climate change, 14 on oceans, and 15 on life on land. So if you look at out of all SDGs, maximum of the SDGs have an impact of having effective circular economic model. And this is what exactly is required with our farmers. Also, I was telling that there is a challenge in digital India. If we are not able to connect, like for webinars, even sitting in a remote area or anywhere in the country, then when we talk about, like, let us have agri-tech, let us talk about technology integration in agriculture, then I believe that we have to talk some basic things also. And today's presentation was related to that for me. I was looking at the details which were shared with me by Professor Moni. They are very interesting, very alarming, and very encouraging also, and which gives a reason that we should think about circular economy, bioeconomy on priority. And out of that, if I look at few of the points, India can unlock approximately $500 billion of economy value by 2030 through adoption of circular economy business models. And India's biomass-rich rural hinterland can emerge as a potential hotspot for the well-established circular economy. This is what Sudhakar Reddy has said. He has mentioned it during one of his discussion, I believe, with Professor Moni. Despite many efforts, there still exist certain complexities. The circular economy is much stronger on paper rather than in a practical sense. I will like to mention here that many of things which are on paper, generally we believe that somebody else will come and execute them. I request to everybody, all stakeholders, that if a policy is there, it needs to be redefined as we did today through this webinar series, discuss and deliberate and debate. Many times we say, no, policy is no there, we cannot do anything. Policy is not good, what can I do? I cannot contribute. This is the best thing. And I again congratulate both of you, Mr. Reddy and Professor Moni, that you did this job and you are doing this job continuously from last 39 weeks. That whatever possibilities are there, we are discussing. Whatever achievements are there, we are sharing. Whatever concerns are there, we are deliberating. And I will like to mention to Mr. Reddy that this webinar series, having its own value due to the content and the type of eminent speakers we are having, is well seen by policymakers, by bureaucrats, by politicians, and many of the recommendations, those who were made during these webinar series, we can see them being implemented by the governments of different states time to time. And I am sure that the government will look into your recommendations also. They will give an ear to your concerns also. Because what you are talking, you are not talking about your own concerns, you are talking about national and international concerns, which is very, very, very important. Because the circular economy in recent years has gained increasing prominence as a tool which presents solution to some of the world's most pressing cross-cutting sustainable development challenges. Today, we are not talking about my progress, your success, my success. The biggest issue is we have to see that globally how we can progress together. And even before that, globally how we can survive together. Sustainable goals are identified, sustainable development issues are there, climate issues are there, so many things are there which need to be addressed, and circular economy is one of the very important tools which will help in that. Mr. Reddy, I invite you to Shobhit University. Why I'm telling you this thing? Every university in our B school, in our school of sciences, liberal arts, and here and there, everywhere we teach economics. We talk about sustainable economic models, but we do not actually talk about circular economic models. And it is not necessary that circular economic model has to be a model for the country only. Small models have to be created. Like in a university, we can develop a model. In an organization, we can develop a model. And I am sure that if the country can have a small certificate which certifies that this organization has developed a model or working on a model which is having a circular economy, where waste management is also happening, where everything is happening the way it should happen, the things will start changing. Because it is going to impact everything. As I was mentioning, SDG 6, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Everywhere there is an impact of circular economy, which need to be done. So thank you very much, Mr. Reddy. We are looking forward to have some type of association with you. Your knowledge, what you have gained, it needs to be shared more and more and more. And I'm thankful to Professor Moni for inviting him today. And it was a new perspective for me to look at many of the things. And definitely, I'm sure that after this webinar, all the stakeholders, they will also start looking at the things in a better way. For our farmers, whatever we can do, we all are committed. And our students, those who are watching us, those who will be looking at the recordings of this webinar, definitely they are going to be benefited, and they will have a possibility, an idea what they can do. Because a lot of startups can come even in this idea. And this is what India needs today. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Professor Moni, for inviting me. It was indeed a pleasure to listen to him. And thank you, everybody, for joining us continuously, supporting Professor Moni. I can see Professor Moni is very happy nowadays. And he is happy because he is busy and he is able to contribute something which is putting an impact on the life of our farmers. Let us all follow his footsteps in this direction. Thank you very much. Namaste. You are on mute,
Series.
Professor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chancellor. Today, our webinar, discussion has given a very important message that digitalization of India has to look into the digital connectivity in rural areas. And we are now working from home, and also that e-learnings, and every student from primary sections to the higher education institution, has to carry a digital device to get connected. And if farmers cannot get connected, and in a place like, a person like Shri Sudhakar Reddy Garu is an engineer turned farmer. He's sitting in the village, and he is not in a position to get connected for his talk. And today we have seen his difficulties. And I wanted to continue completely because this gives a lot of lesson learning to the policy makers from the government. And he is also messaging that I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Mr. Reddy, you need not to be sorry for the inconvenience. It is the service providers has to make it this convenience for everybody to who are involved in production productivity in the country. And this is a message which goes to the all the policy makers that digitalization of India needs to have the BharatNet has to function from first mile connectivity. Village cannot be the last mile connectivity. This is what I would like to convey. And I thought that even though he talked for about 20 minutes, and then he had a problem, and then from laptop he got connectivity to the smartphone, and even then also smartphone he is not able to get connectivity. It is online is one aspect, but the real-time connectivity is what is needed for sustainable development at the grassroots level. So thank you very much, Mr. Sudhakar Reddy Garu, our guest speaker, and our Honorable Chancellor. You are so kind, and you are able to find in your busy schedule to participate in every week and appointed time. And you are also able to, even though you come exactly at 12:15 noon, but you are watching the series from 11 o'clock onwards. And this gives a lot of confidence. And I'm also very happy that this webinar series is now generating a lot of ideas, and also which are generating as a policy paper and research articles for publications. And this is what we intend to do that. And generation of converting ideas which are coming in this webinar series into policy papers or the research problems or research papers. And with your support, we will definitely reach that achievement, and we'll produce that results for the our deemed university. It is very important, and we are very happy that we are able to achieve even in these difficult situations. And even though today we had disruptions, but we are able to run this program for the last 1 hour 34 minutes. And thank you very much. And this one, I would like to thank the participants from India and abroad, and also all our faculty members and students who participate in this program and stay with us. And we will close the webinar and we will leave the studio. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your participation, and greeting from Shobhit University. For more research inquiries, please contact Professor Moni, Professor Emeritus and Chairman, Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Studies, and Center for Agribusiness Disaster Management Studies, and former Director General National Informatics Center, Government of India, New Delhi. For email ID, moni@shobhituniversity.ac.in. And Mr. Reddy Garu has joined. It is a stable connection now. Reddy Garu? Reddy Garu? Hello?